Hadong Sea. The last days of the year 2000, not 125. No longer the deep blue of the ocean. It's turning the gunpowder gray. And the red glow of the blue. Deleted. Chinese People's Liberation Army, PLA. The four largest forces at the same time. Army, Navy, Air Force and Strategic Missile Forces. To do an exercise called Lord of Justice 2000, not 125. This is not a routine exercise. This is a general parade for the end of the world. Why did we choose this sensitive time to unleash such a terrifying black hunt? Why? They're openly demonstrating abilities that they used to have. It's always hidden in a military black box. Beijing has lost patience and decided to tighten the noose around the North Neck to the point of hearing breath. To understand the seriousness of the event of the 29th of December, we absolutely can't read it. It's like a soulless military bulletin. Who owns how many ships? How many planes? That view is fundamentally wrong. What we need to look at is the mood of Beijing. It's a mental state. And the political message that China wants to send to the world. Right from the name of the Justice Mission exercise. The story goes beyond the purely military. It's not a generic name. It's a moral statement. A prepared legal treatise. To justify the act of force. When forcing a great power to call its own military action, it's justice. They're implicitly saying that the enemy is wrong. Violators of order. And if the guns go off, that's not aggression. It's enforcement. Context at the moment. That makes that message particularly mind-boggling. At the end of the year 2025, the global geopolitical landscape are in a state of marked imbalance. American or in a very sensitive period. Or are worried about internal stability after a lot of problems. It means that strategic focus is dispersed. Europe is exhausted both economically and politically. Because the Ukrainian war lasted. The arsenal is dwindling. A society tired of the declining will to engage militarily. In that picture, Taiwan under its leadership became Germany again. There are steps that Beijing sees as crossing the line. Read from the intensification of international campaigning, seeking legitimate recognition, to the purchase of weapons. With increasing scale and frequency. From a Chinese perspective, this is no longer about defense, it's about playing with fire. And when Beijing feels that the red line has been trampled long enough, they don't want to wait any longer. This exercise is the unspoken answer. Of course, China has mobilized a level of total force never seen before. If the exercises were just world before, it's mainly about the Navy and the Air Force to demonstrate the ability to blockade and suppress from the air. On the beach this time, simultaneous deployment of all four major monarchs to form a complete combat model. If in previous exercises, the missile only serves as an auxiliary blow, this time Beijing organized to put them at the center. Public maneuvers with DF-17 supersonic missiles. The 17th winter is a calculated escalation. With speeds up to Mach 10 and maneuverable flight orbits. Difficult to predict. PDF-17. It's almost like the king disables the current defense shield. A patch or a task. That's designed to deal with ballistic missiles. Traditional. It's not random. That POA simulates precise blows. In the name of the leader of Taiwan and command centers. In the first minutes of the conflict scenario. At the same time, the emergence of DF-26, the missile has been dubbed the carrier killer. In the exercise script, a warning not to hide. To U.S. aircraft carrier strike groups. Are present, or prepare to enter the Western Pacific. On the sea, the Chinese Navy deployed. It's a full-blown strangulation. They're not just exercising in Western Taiwan. In the familiar Sea Love, it's also sending ships around the east side of the island. Straight out into the Pacific. Here's the bottom line. Tactics to catch turtles in the army was deployed when the task destroyers were not 5 years old. Lhasa or Na Page. Each carrying 112 vertical launch tubes. Set up a counter-access zone. And cordon off area 2 on Ad in the east. The goal doesn't need to be clear. Cut off all roads. Potential retreat of the Taiwanese leadership. And at the same time shut down the supply lines. Strategy from Guam or Japan of the US. The most important thing is the participation of the aircraft carrier. Test Not 3. For the first time in a rehearsal. Real combat. With AMA's electromagnetic discharge system. In the sky. The Chinese Air Force created the image, which many observers call the fire dragons of the night. The main focus of this exercise is night combat. And aerial refueling operations. Dozens of fighters, from J-20 stealth to J-16 multitasking, has infiltrated Taiwan's air defense identification zone into the frame, from 2 to 3 in the morning. It's the most physically and psychologically sensitive time. It's not just a night flight test. You're a blow to the enemy's spirit, forcing the Taiwan Air Force to maintain a state of readiness, fight, 24 out of 7 under constant pressure conditions. The appearance of the tanker I-20U make the picture more complete. When it allows Chinese potential attackers fly around the island, long-term presence in the air, turn Taiwan from a defensive island into a prisoner in the sky and the sea. The vote is moving very clearly from the thinking, rehearsal with script, getting used to real war. This time many women, deployed in an unannounced manner. Random target is ordered to be sent out suddenly. Army units and forces. Missile receives hypothetical coordinates. In real time, force them to react immediately. Information processing. Synergistic and firing in chaotic conditions. Just like war. This is no longer a theater to film propaganda. This is the final preparation, where the military is placed and the real pressure. To get used to the feeling, when everything is no longer on paper. Full array target. The real mission of justice exercise. It's not just Taiwan. It's designed as a political arrow. Military hit with the forces behind. Or ally of the crochet radio. For America, the mission of justice is a warning. It's sent very directly. It's almost an ultimatum. Take the message, don't cross the line. The exercise took place just after Washington threw a package of new arms sales to Taiwan. In the context of assumptions. 2000, not 125. It's not a coincidence. Beijing deliberately upgrades its deterrent level. When the Rockefeller. To shed light on a scripture around Taiwan. They're telling Washington directly that the American free carrier era, close to the Western Pacific, it's not as safe as before. Japan and the Philippines. The third arrow of justice. It's a cold warning, but no less than anger. Because the scope of the exercise extends to the area near the island of Kashima. Japanese and sea-loving Sea, to conduct strategic maritime linking the Pacific to the South China Sea. It's not geographically random. These are the points that America can use to deploy forces, supply or encirclement of China in economic conflict. Beijing's message to Tokyo and Manila is clear. Don't let your territory and your bases become a springboard for America. If that happens, you will no longer be out of the game. It will become part of the battlefield. By pulling countries in the region into the confines of his threat, China is trying to reshape its security environment around Taiwan, the United States and its allies too. It's much more complicated and risky. In the face of the power of justice, how did North Korea and Washington react? Whether they falter or will escalate tensions. Taiwan Defense Agency (MN) has activated the highest alert status. Powerful Missile Systems 2 and Powerful 3 has been moved to coastal combat positions. Patriot Air Defense System and Tiangong target lock into the plains. Taiwan's leader returns to Germany. We will not give in to pressure. We will fight to the last soldier to protect democracy. However, Taiwan's military admits the deviation is too big. The pilots are exhausted. I had to stop too many times. BF Machine 16V their parachute modern. But it's too small for a sea of people. J-10, J-11, J-16 of China. The American response this time was somewhat more cautious. The US State Department expressed deep concern and called on Beijing to rein in. But these words seem meaningless. Before the roar of missiles DF-17, the United States does not send an aircraft carrier directly into the straits to avoid provoking direct war, according to which the US's carrier strike group, Ronald Reagan, or US's Joker Washington, moving in Philippine waters to monitor. The truth is that America is stretched too thin. Central Ukraine. Washington does not want a third front. With a nuclear superpower like China, the United States' prudence unwittingly makes Taiwan feel uneasy. When the war breaks out, will they come to the rescue? When drills turn into war. The scariest thing of the exercise, the mission of justice in 2000, not 125, is that the line between exercise and actual attack has been blurred. Military experts are concerned about the scenario. The vote declared that the exercise would put troops in a siege position, then suddenly goes into real attack mode. Without the need to gather forces, Taiwan will have no early warning time. When they realize this is war, the missile landed on his head. Or China may not need to land. They just need to keep this exercise going for 2 weeks. 1 month. No oil tanker dare enter Taiwan. No gas ship dared to dock. Tai Lone. which depends on 97% of imported energy, will run out of energy, the chip factory will shut down. The economy collapsed. Taiwan will have to surrender without a bullet. This is a bloodless immortality scenario. It's called the Top Book. You can't fight but subdue people. Summary of the Justice Mission Exercise. 5-2000 not 125. It's not just a show of muscle. It's the end of an era. Cold peace in Taiwan Strait. China has sent a clear message. They're ready for every scenario, even the worst. Participation of 4 major forces, especially the strategic missile forces, shows Beijing's ironclad determination in the recovery of this island, no matter the cost. Taiwan is standing at the crossroads of life and death. America is facing the most difficult problem of the century. The world is holding its breath, tracking every flight path of the 20-somethings in the field sky. Will the mission of justice stop at the level of hunting? Or it's a death knell for a devastating war? It's going to break out in 2000, not 126. No one is sure. I just know that the Chinese have really woken up. And its breath is heating up the entire Pacific. What do you think of China's military power? In this exercise, the alliance is strong enough to protect Taiwan if conflict breaks out.